Well, hello, friends. Happy Friday. I hope your Friday is going well for you and your weekend is off to a great start. I tell you, mine sure is. I'm sure happy to see the weekend is here at last. And yeah, having a big old time. Well, we got the Max's Memorial Friday Savinelli filled with Haunted Bookshop, as is tradition here. And let's get things going. We got lots of stuff to talk about tonight, if you're interested. And I'm sure you've got lots of stuff to talk about too, so we'll see how that goes. Let's see who we got gathered here so far. We've got, there's Patrick Grant. How you doing, Patrick? Big Dave, good to see you, Dave. Jeffrey Feinberg, Lord Hogarth, George Campbell, Kevin Doolin. Not too far south for blizzards. Well, that's a good thing, Kevin. MTMTB, good evening to you. Piper said, howdy, howdy. Good to see you, sir. Signal man Tony, hello, Tony. There's Bona Piper. Good to see you, Christian. Fantastic. Nice crowd already. What's our number here? According to my screen, it says one waiting. So apparently that's wrong. There's Doug Owen. Good to see you, Doug. Yes, you got the LO bean going too, Doug. It's cold tonight. It's a cold, chilly night. And by the way, that means I'm leaving the furnace on for my wife. I explained to her that you guys weren't too upset by the noise last week, and that we're going to leave it on from now on when it gets cold. And she said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you." So you made her happy. Michael Case, hey, how you doing, Michael? Yes, spring training is in gear, which is fantastic. And Kevin Doolin's got some haunted pirate ship in a Casano straight billiard. Very nice. There's Couch, also known as Brokeback Couch. Poor Couch hurt his back this week. I hurt my back this week. I'll tell you more about that good fun. But Couch is doing worse than I am. I'm pretty much finished recovering from my escapades. Couch is still hurting. So I hope you feel better soon, buddy. There's Tamper Jim. Good to see you, Jim. Puny Pipe Man. Hello, hello. Great crowd. I wish I knew how many, but it just says one waiting. So YouTube is wonderful. So yeah, it's cold. It's in the 30s, but for some reason it just feels colder than that. I don't. It's very windy. And yesterday it was 70 degrees. So go figure. Craziest February I ever have seen. There's Yornik. Hello, Yornik. And Armchair Piper. Good to see you, Ed. So, if you saw my Sunday video, you saw what I did last week. And I think I talked about it a little bit on the live stream. I went to visit a friend and we worked on a movie set for a movie he's making. And that was a lot of fun. I showed some pictures on Sunday of what we did. Basically built a 7-foot diameter hoop for somebody to jump through. It's going to be a fake stained glass window with breakaway glass, and they're going to come crashing through it. So it was a lot of fun. We had a good time. Good to see my buddy. Let's see. Doug says, for you baseball fans, World Baseball Classic starts March 8th. Molina manages the Puerto Rico team. Adam Wainwright as the starting pitcher for the U.S. team. Cool. That is good news. I'm itching for some baseball, Doug. So it's good to see that's happening. Where was I? Oh yeah, so I built this thing, and he doesn't have a workbench, so we're doing most of our work on the floor. And from all the bending over and whatever, I somehow threw out my back. It was hurting a little bit on Sunday. By Sunday night, it was really painful. And I took the day off yesterday because what was happening, I mean, it hurt and all, but I could take Advil and, put some heat on it. It was kind of okay. But I found that walking from my car to my office, maybe a 10-minute walk, so it's not that terrible. And walking back, my leg was locking up. It was like the, sorry, my alarm's going off. That's my 8 o'clock alarm that I accidentally snoozed instead of turning off. In fact, I think I just snoozed it again, so it'll probably go off again. Yeah, my leg was seizing up, and it was the strangest thing. It's like if you're like really tighten up your muscles, like if you're lifting a weight or something, it was that kind of feeling, that burning sensation, but I couldn't relax it. And this happened Monday and Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I said, well, we'll give it one more try. Wednesday was horrible, so I wound up just staying at home on Thursday. I worked, but I just kind of nursed it with the heating pad and everything, and today is pretty good. So backs are funny things. You can throw them out doing the silliest thing, and they can hurt quite bad. I need my glasses for this one. So Yordik is actually Kate. Her man is sleeping, and Kate's battling insomnia. Well, hopefully we can make you sleepy, Kate. Phil Rivera, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you, Phil. And there's Tramper Scott. Can't work on the floor like that. No, I learned that lesson the hard way, Scott. There's Steve Russell. Yeah, Doug, it probably is more than just the back. It's probably some nerve pinch or something. And this is something I've fought on and off over the years, although it's never been this extent where the leg got involved. Yes, thank you, Patrick. Folks, if you can hit that thumbs up button, it really helps get the word out about the channel, so I'd appreciate it. And thank you, Patrick, for pointing that out. Portsmouth Piper, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you tonight. And there's our buddy Voodooed, Voodooed07. Good to see you. The Urban Hermit, did I catch you already, Everett? I don't remember. All right, Michael's saying 48 to 58 in the house. Hopefully that's the number of people here, not the temperature. Ed, that's terrible. To have a back operation that young, yeah. Yeah, Big Dave, it's better now. If it was chronic, I would consider acupuncture. But I have been seeing a chiropractor for, oh, I don't know, about a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. And I was always very skeptical of chiropractors, and got a long story about that sometime. But this one, I just flat out told them I didn't believe what they were doing was real, but I was desperate. This was for my leg pain that I had, still have occasionally. And they were very honest with me and said, okay, I'm glad you told me that. This is what we were trying to do. Here's a book that you can read about the actual science behind it and all. I said, I'll give it a try, and it's been wonderful. I go every week, and it's really helped a lot. Oh, thank you, Yornik, on behalf of all the lovely people. And I agree with you. We got a bunch of lovely folks here. Codger Jim thinks I should get an epidural. I don't think it's to that point, Jim, but maybe someday. Oh, Phil, that sounds horrible. Severe cramps and spasms in every muscle. You know, something that, and I'm not giving medical advice because I'm not qualified to do so, but I used to get a lot of bad, like Charlie horse cramps and stuff, and I started taking this this beet supplement, you know, that you drink it. It's, I forget what it's called, Real Beets or something like that. And I thought that was kind of silly, but it's supposed to help with circulation. And sure enough, it did fix the cramping problem very effectively. Like within a day or two, it just stopped. But because it is a vasodilator, increases blood flow, it also dropped my blood pressure to the point where I was getting lightheaded, so I can't take it. Fortunately, other dietary things have fixed that. So, there's Scott Terry. How you doing? Greetings from Maine. It's great to have you here, buddy. And he's got some Peretti Burley BPC and a Peterson Bulldog. There's that alarm that I promised you. I'm going to actually pay attention this time and turn it off. All right. We don't need that going off every 5 minutes. Oh, Ed's got the Morley Best going now. Everett's got everybody hooked on it. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, how you doing tonight? Stay away from those nerve blocks they like to do. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna. Hopefully, I won't have to do anything like that. Hot sauna a couple times a week sounds like a good deal there, Mr. Stan. See what you did, Ed? Now Piper said Sid has to smoke 2 pipes. Yeah, Big Dave, it didn't taste like beets. It was like cherry flavored or something. It looked like Kool-Aid. I've heard that pipe time. Says the wife drinks pickle juice. And there's Piper on the 45. How you doing tonight? So that was the big news this week. So I got pretty much nothing done that didn't involve sitting still. Yes, furnace is going to come on. Just a warning. We'll try to work through it. Yes, Michael. Often gardening does a job on my back. I have to be really careful when I do it. Kevin Doolin, I've never jarred up Carter Hall. I just keep it in the plastic tubs, and it's always been fine. Yes, Everett, you have created monsters with Morley's Best. There's Ron Hardcrackers. Good evening, Ron. It's the eternal question, Ron. What do you drink before you nod off? Yeah, Steve, when you get those things in the middle of the night, they're horrible. There's Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. How you doing, Pepe? Tonight's beverage, some of you are going to make fun of me. It's a fine whiskey. It's Seagram's VO, imported from Canada, so you know it's good. I know it's not the finest of quality. It's a blended whiskey. It's, got a reputation. It's cheap. But I went to the liquor store this week, probably because my back was hurting, if I'm honest. And I thought I want to get something that's, not overpriced, not too expensive. And it was on sale. And I sort of had this flashback to childhood. I grew up with Seagram's VO. Literally grew up with it. Because I know for a fact that when I was teething, my mother used to rub it on my gums. That gives you an idea of how old I am. I'm sure that young parents would go into shock if you suggested that to them. Andrew Sirigliano, good evening and happy Friday to you. Just trying to catch up here in the middle of my story. I was going to say my wife's whiskey. Yes, 5% said. So it was on sale for $12, and I thought, But it really was just sort of a constant growing up, because it was the whiskey that people would give at Christmas time. Like my dad would always get a bottle of whiskey from someone at work and bring it home, and my parents didn't drink very much, very little. So these bottles of Seagram's accumulated under our sink, which is where they put them, the cabinet under the sink. And I know that my mom rubbed it on my gums when I was a baby and teething, because she actually showed me the bottle. That's how long a bottle of whiskey would last in those days, because nobody drank it. Then I got into high school, and I realized that there were a lot of bottles of whiskey under the sink, and they wouldn't miss one, right? So, I sneak one out and join some like-minded delinquents, and we'd have a big old time. Not every night, but it happened a couple of times. And the funny thing is, when my parents moved, so this was the house we had in Philadelphia, and they moved up to Vermont, while I was living in Pittsburgh. And I was talking to my dad as they were getting things packed up, and he said, "You know, the funniest thing, I could have sworn I had like twice as much whiskey as I had." And then he said, "I'm never going to drink it, so if you want it, you can, get it the next time you're around." Which of course I did, and I finished it off very quickly. But yeah, it's just something that I'm comfortable with. It's always been around, and it's whiskey. Aragoric, yes. I remember a bottle of that in the refrigerator. It was actually for my younger brother and sister. Yeah, with Phil it was Jack Daniels and Wild Turkey. There you go. That's absolutely right, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. It doesn't matter if it's cheap if you like it. That's all that matters, indeed. Yeah, Sailor. I mean, it's for the price. It's actually excellent stuff. Tight budget drink. McNaughton's Canadian whiskey. There you go, Doug. Combination alcoholic drink and toilet bowl cleaner. Perfect. Good one, Lord Hogarth. Hey, Chad. Hasn't had any whiskey in probably 25 years. Well, I hope that's a good thing, Chad. Oh God, Thunderbird. I don't even know if I've ever had Thunderbird. I remember people drinking it, but yeah. Yes, Michael Case, there are a few things that scare me more than a hot tub. Bubbling cauldron of contagion. Yeah, the furnace is now done. And again, my wife says thank you for putting up with that. It makes her much more comfortable. Yes, Seagram's and 7 Up, Mr. Stan. That's a good one. I definitely have enjoyed that, and it makes a great highball too with ginger ale. Yes, Andrew. The moral of the story is if your parents drink the whiskey quickly, because eventually your kids will get it. Yeah, kind of similar with me, Trapper Scott. My mom would have the occasional drink. Like I remember her making, oh, what the heck was it? I forget what they were called, but it was orange juice and amaretto, which sounds disgusting and probably was. But she liked that, or screwdrivers. But it was rare. It would be like Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, those kind of things. My dad was kind of a, he'd drink one beer and he was done for the night kind of guy. Pipe time. That's when you and whiskey have one thing in common and it's the police, you probably should avoid it. It's a good question, Voodoo. I don't know if Seagram's VO and Seagram 7s are the same. I don't know. Anyone else know the answer to that? Everclear is very versatile stuff, Phil. It's expensive though. I hate using it to clean, but you gotta. Thunderbird isn't somewhere you went, it was somewhere you ended up. Well put, Chad. Oh, that's interesting, Michael. Johnny Walker Red Label is the currency of the sea. Fascinating. Mr. Stan says he had a guy tell him this week that he likes bourbon and apple juice. That's interesting. Calls it a Jim Dandy. I don't know if I like that. Apple juice. I'm not a big fan of apple juice to begin with. Real good American cognac, eh, Yernick? Armchair Piper 777. 7 shots of Seagram's with 7-Up. No. Ah, okay. Doug's got the answer for Voodoo. So Seagram's 7 is American whiskey, corn-based like bourbon, and VO is rye-based from Canada. Interesting. I've just always gone with the VO. I didn't really pay much attention. Mountain Coffee Outdoors says that apple juice and moonshine is pretty good. I personally just don't like apple juice that much, so I don't know if I'd like it, but yeah, there's the Smooth Piper. How you doing, Peter? It's good to see you tonight. Yeah, Phil, I kind of agree with you there on the fruit and alcohol thing. I've never been much of a mixed drink person, partly because I just want to know that I'm drinking the alcohol. Like, you know, you sweeten it up enough and you don't realize what you're drinking. Granny Smith apple juice. That sounds interesting, Scott. The Smooth Piper's got some HGL in the Friday 7 Ellie. Very nice, Peter. Hope you enjoy it. Mountain Coffee Outdoors tried Czech Moonshine up in a hot spring at around 11,000 feet. That sounds like an interesting evening. Gin and tomato juice. I could do that. Yes, Sailor, I feel the same way. It's a safety thing. But I will, I mean, it's not that I never have a mixed drink. I'll have a highball, I'll have a gin and tonic, but that's usually in a situation where I'm just going to drink one, and I know I'm only going to drink one. Uh, but like if I go out to a party or something, I don't have mixed drinks. I have beer. Rarely do I have a hard liquor when I'm out. Yes, Phil, vodka, sake, soji, also whiskey, iskaba, um, water of life. Not to be confused with that worm juice that they drink on the Dune planet. Yeah, that's a good thing to mention, MTMTB. I got an email today from Smoking Pipes, and they have the Low Country blends on sale, 15% off. Amazing bargain at $18 a pound. Yeah. Smooth Piper like Scotch and ginger ale. Never tried that one, Peter. Plenty of whiskey and ginger ale, but never Scotch. All right, Phil. Enjoy the pizza. The Clancy Brothers, yes, Irish whiskey with holy water. I When I was a kid, I had one of the records that my dad had. He had a collection of vinyl records. I'm hoping to actually uh, bring some of those home when I go up to Vermont in the spring. One of them that I played over and over and over again was Tommy Macon and the Clancy Brothers. I loved that album. Uh, and I don't remember the Holy Water reference, but it had some great songs on it. The Irish Rover, Wandering Gypsy, Mountain Dew. The Irish definitely know how to sing about drinking. That's I've got a lot of Irish in my background. Sailor, I'm the same way. I make a gin martini with an olive and a little bit of the olive juice sometimes, but I really don't like anything else in a martini. Dubliners were great as well, Tramper Scott, indeed. Whiskey in the Jar is a great song, Michael. Wow, a warm welcome in 85 by the English. That is surprising, Doug. Yeah, Lord Hogarth, I like olives too. I don't know if I go to that extent of a third olives, but I like them. I usually have two or three in a martini. I don't consider that a mixed drink, though. I consider that just a marinated olive with a gin martini. Jim PM, happy Friday to you, sir. Good to see you. There's Brian Dawkins. How you doing, Brian? Scotch on the rocks with a cherry, but also good with ginger ale. Indeed. Again, I've only done it with whiskey, but and I skipped the cherry just because that's another thing I've got to buy. I'm lazy. Mr. Stan with another interesting drink idea: gin with pear juice and Sprite. Gary Edminster, you can't be late. You're just in time, buddy. Good to see you. Here comes that furnace again. And Brian Dawkins is a Scotch with water guy. Lyle Lovett, there's an interesting name. I don't think Lyle Lovett gets the recognition he deserves. And Couch likes coffee. I like coffee too, Couch. Good stuff. In fact, I don't think I'd get through the day if it wasn't for coffee. Big Dave, I seem to remember an episode of Gilligan's Island where they did all get drunk on something. Not intentionally, it was accidental, of course, but maybe I'm misremembering that. I realized something funny yesterday with coffee, to go back to Couch for a minute. I make a pot of coffee in the morning. I have a percolator. I set it up the night before, and I set it off in the morning when I get up. And I'll drink it through the day, and there comes a point where I have to turn it off because it's empty. And I realized yesterday, it doesn't happen on days when I go to work, because when I'm going to work, I'll have a couple cups in the morning, and then I fill my big travel mug up and turn it off. But these days where I'm home and, it's getting to like 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon when I turn it off, I actually feel a little depressed turning it off. It's like another day has come to that point, I never really thought about it until yesterday when I was home, just how sad it is that I have to turn off the coffee pot. Uh-oh. Thurman is using the urban hermit as a pillow. We all have to pray for Everett's safety. Thurman is a big cat. That was the episode with Lord Beasley, Big Dave? Could be, I don't remember. I have finished the Friday 7 Ellie, and I'm going to move on. And my second pipe tonight is a favorite that you've seen before, but I haven't had it out in a while. This is a Stanikowski. I have no idea what shape that is. Canted giant egg or something. This is a wonderful pipe. This is actually a gift from my buddy Christian, and really enjoy it. But I don't often smoke it on a Friday, so you don't get to see it. At least not here. And I'm going to go with Haunted Bookshop again. I'm just in a Haunted Bookshop kind of mood. When am I not in a Haunted Bookshop kind of mood? By the way, I've been using my Cornell&Deal 30th anniversary lighter. A really pretty lighter, I think. And was it on Sunday I was talking about this, or did I say it on Instagram? I don't remember, but I am a Cornell&Deal fanboy. There's no question about it. I mean, they've got their ups and downs, but if all other tobacco, if I could only smoke Cornell&Deal tobacco, I'd be a happy man. So in other words, I'm very biased. Ah, Tramper Scott's been on a Haunted Bookshop tear, eh? I got some lighter show and tell here. I don't know if Phil's back, but we'll... Uh-oh. That wasn't good. But we can fill him in when he gets back. So, a bit of a story. Let me light this first. It certainly is Devil Ants-esque armchair piper, but I think it's too long in the shank / stem, and I think it's too tall as well. But I'm the world's worst person when it comes to identifying pipe shapes. So perhaps maybe there is a pipe, and I think this is hilarious. Whoever came up with this was a genius. It's an egg on an ant's platform, basically, and they call it a deviled egg. So maybe I'll just call this deviled egg. I like that. Yeah, I do like it, Doug. Doug's referring to, he says W.O. Larson used to make a finish like this where it'd be rusticated on the bottom and then smooth on the top. And it's nice because you get all the nice smooth grain, but there's something to grab onto, which I really like. I mean, I appreciate the beauty of a smooth pipe, but sometimes just in terms of the hand feel, the rustication is superior, in my opinion. So, I got a little lighter story to tell you, involving two of our good friends here. This is a lighter that was sent to me by my good friend Michael Case, and it is a Scripto, and Michael very thoughtfully sent this to me because it's got a trout fly in it. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it does indeed have a trout fly. Now, it needs some work. I've got to replace the seals and stuff, and Michael kindly sent along the seals as well, and I said, okay, I'll make a video about Scripto lighters, give a little bit of the history, and do the the work on this in the video, and I just haven't had the time to do it. And it's getting a little embarrassing, Michael, because I know it's been, what, it's got to be close to 2 years now. You've been waiting for this. But the Scriptos are really cool because they've got this clear plastic base, and when that's filled, at least from what I understand, it's a little hard to see the fly. But when that's filled with fluid, it becomes much more transparent, and you can see it better. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm now going to make a concerted effort to actually get this video together. The hardest part isn't doing the work. The hardest part is getting all the history of Scripto. Very rich history, actually. So that's coming attractions. You're going to see that hopefully in the next month or so. But today I got a nice surprise from my buddy Phil Rivera. And I think Phil's doing something with a pizza, so we can tell him when he gets back. But he sent me this, which is I think he said it was a Korean version of a Scripto. And you can see it also has a trout fly in it, which is really cool. And this one was new, so I was able to put some fluid in it. Now, you'll notice there's not a lot of fluid in there. I filled it like 3/4 of the way full, but did not realize, well, let's put it this way. The fluid that's not in here is on the laundry room floor. I cleaned it up, but yeah, we had a little bit of a filling incident. But nevertheless, it lights, it works quite well. And one thing I like about it is the windscreen on it is actually has large enough openings that you can use it as a pipe lighter. I don't know if it'll work when you're trying to get deep into the bowl, but at least for initial lighting. So yeah, very cool. Thank you, Phil. I'm really glad to have this, and thank you, Michael. That video is coming, I promise. Okay, so Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy have a deviled egg, and it's similar, so maybe I should call this a deviled egg then. Yes. I gotta put my thing on because I can't see your name. Lost in the 50s. Great name. There are some good Sutliff blends for sure, and I love Mixer 79. Haven't had the Model match, but Ready Rubbed is good. Yeah, I'm sure I've smoked this before, Michael. Maybe it was Sunday, I don't know. But yeah, it's a great pipe. Oh, Gary's got a Scripto with 2 dice. Yeah, they had a whole variety of things in them. Very cool pipes. Satanic Ovum? I get it, Yernick. That's good. Big Dave's having steelhead for dinner for first Friday of Lent. Yes, we had. We were going to have fish, but somebody didn't defrost it in time, so we had a vegetarian pizza. We had fish on Wednesday, though. It was very good. Brian Dawkins had homemade fish pie. Wow. That sounds good, Brian. For those of you that don't know, Catholics, and I assume other Christians, recognize Lent by not eating meat on Fridays, abstaining from meat. And yeah, it's just one of the things you do. I've always felt a little guilty about it because I like fish. So to me, it's, I actually try to have fish most Fridays. So it's not really much of a sacrifice to have fish on Fridays. You're welcome, Andrew. Anytime I can help you spend money, just let me know. Thanks for understanding, Michael. I just don't want you to think that I don't truly appreciate the gift. It's wonderful, and I've been really looking forward to getting it working. Yornik, I'm using a Zippo too. Nothing wrong with Zippos, but it's nice to diversify now and then. Gary says he misses his Ronson Coronet lighter. I don't suppose they're easy to come by, Gary. I don't know them, but I don't recognize the name, to be honest. Oh, Ron just finished the Model match. I'll have to give that a try. I've never had the original Model. Jim PM, I'm sure she understands. Sailor's waiting for someone to come out with a blend named after a cool song, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. Yes, Couch, the traditional Catholics, and up until I believe the 60s, did not eat meat on Fridays, and I'm still of that mindset, although I don't consider it, wrong if I slip up or if I'm at some event or something and, have to do it. But I prefer not to eat meat on Fridays. Yeah, Yornik, some of them Zippos can be a bit racy. Hello, Sonny. First time attending the live stream. He's got some Cornell and Deal bow-legged bear and a hand-rusticated Von Ness billiard. Well, welcome, Sonny. It's great to have you. Kevin, I don't know about the Eastern Orthodox, if they also avoid fish. I really don't know. Oh, Ronson Comet lighter. Sorry, Gary. I might have misread it. Yeah, I think some of the Anglicans do the same thing, Brian. Oh, Couch, I know. Couch's dog Ilva's out in the cold and refuses to come in. Isabel's been doing that in the mornings, and she annoys the heck out of me because I get up at 6 and I try to let her. She doesn't want to go out, and then I'll try at 7. She doesn't want to go out, and I've got a meeting at 8. 10 minutes to 8, she wants to go out, and 70% of the time she's in and out. She's out there for 5 minutes and back in. But no, these mornings she decides she's just going to lay in the yard. It's like 20 degrees out there and she's just laying in the yard looking around. I call her, she looks away from me. I can't hear you. And then I come down here and I'm 5 minutes into the meeting, I hear her barking. Dogs are Dogs are all weirdos, Couch. And if you think about it too much, you start to think they're doing it on purpose. But of course they're not. Trapper Scott avoids fish most days. Well, some people don't like it. I've always loved fish. Oh yes, Doug, I remember those lighters where you turn it upside down and the clothes would come off. There were also pens that would do that. The sailor says he never eats meat on Fridays his entire life. Yeah, a lot of people do that. And Gary says lobster and shrimp is always good. I don't know, Gary. I like them. I like the flavor, but then I think about how they live and what they eat, and I don't know. You know, Kevin, there's a lot to be said for that. I think the traditions, even if you're not religious, sometimes they're just comforting and they help you kind of recognize the passage of time. And that's something I think is really important. Uh, just having a something to mark, you know, like what I was saying earlier about the coffee pot, as silly as it is, that kind of marks that moment in time. You know, I know that that part of the day is done and now I'm moving on to the next. On Fridays, I don't eat meat, and I know that the week is coming to a close, and it just sort of marks the time in some way. No, Michael, it's not the same fly. And you're going to ask me to identify the flies, aren't you? Doug was flipping lighters and pens like crazy as a 13-year-old. Yeah, Couch, I'm with you on that. I mean, I can eat them, but my wife loves salmon, and salmon's like the last fish I want to eat. Oh no, Andrew. Oh, I've had dogs with that. Andrew's dog has got the cone of shame on from a surgery. That's always painful to watch him knock around. It's also painful to have to prevent them from, causing mass destruction as they knock around. Ah, he's protesting by staying out in the cold. Gotcha, Andrew. Ah, that sounds like fun, Mr. Stan. Crappie fishing in early March, yeah. Well, that weather yesterday had me thinking about fishing. Anybody else getting Morse code? I hope not. Maybe somebody's trying to contact you, Gary. Yep, halibut is quite good, Sonny. I like halibut. Lake Erie perch is awesome, says Couch. I like perch. I don't know that I've specifically had Lake Erie, but maybe. Catfish is good. Beowulf and Miss Kathy. I like that. So Doug is getting Morse code as well, and he says I've got an echo. Why would I have an echo? There's no, the audio is off here. There's no reason for it. Let me check. Sorry guys, I don't see anything obviously wrong here. Here comes the furnace again if you're interested. That's a great story, Michael. An abbot in the 1200s shot a deer on Friday and had the servant throw it in the river to pronounce it a fish. There's Artie from Artie's place. How you doing, Artie? He says lobsters are actually pretty smart. Not surprised. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness, Patrick. Thanks for letting us know. So we need to some good thoughts and prayers for all Briared Up and his family there. Had a seizure and he fell and hurt his neck, and his wife has got an ear infection and they had to put their dog down. That's so sad. I hate it when the parallel realities collide there, Mrs. Yernick. Apparently Gary and Doug are being contacted by someone. I'm repeating myself? Oh, that's scary, Doug. Artie thinks it might be my wife tapping on a pipe. SOS. No, she's free roaming, Artie, I promise. You guys that are having trouble with the audio, maybe try reloading the browser. Patrick is going to have the last of his Evan Williams bourbon. Enjoy, buddy. Brian, Morse code is still a thing. Actually, not as big as it used to be, but in the ham radio world, it's still the best way to do long distance contacts. Oh, thank you, Couch. Yeah, it's a really nice pipe, and it's got a big bowl, which I like. Yeah, Morse code is one of the most efficient ways to send information by radio. And you can go very long distances, much further with low power than you can with voice, which is, it's more information, you need more bandwidth, and it's got to have more energy to move that a long distance. Oh, Sailor, that's a good point. It could be a balloon. You better check. We got to watch out for those things. Oh, that's funny, Sonny. Um, Two people doing Morse code versus two teenagers texting, and the Morse code wins. Yeah. Jeffrey, when I have a choice and halibut is one of the options, I will often say I'll have that just for the halibut, and everybody groans. So. That's right, Phil. The Morse code isn't required for the ham license now. But if you don't, if you can't use it, you really are limiting yourself, and you need much more expensive equipment and bigger antennas and everything else. So they had to do that though because the hobby was dying because people viewed the Morse code to be too much of a barrier. So it was an attempt to, hate to say lower the standards because the standards are still quite high, but you don't need Morse code anymore. So it's a little bit easier to get into it. And I think that's a good thing. Yep, very narrow bandwidth seller. Just go signal man and semaphore. Yeah. There you go, Phil. Yeah, Piper said cursive writing. It's kind of sad. I suffered through 8 years of Catholic grade school with nuns being really mean to me about my cursive writing because my penmanship was horrible. And I print because people can read it when I print. If I write in cursive, I mean, people can read about 50% of what I write. And if any of you have ever gotten a handwritten note from me, you know how bad it is. And it's just my hand doesn't want to do that. But when I write in cursive, even I can't read it half the time. And to be honest, I've forgotten how to do a lot of it, which kind of is a shame because I spent so much time learning it and now it's gone. What's the radio behind me? Asks Gary. And Mike's not remembering, so he's gonna have to get it. It doesn't want to come off. It's actually been a while since I've used this. It is a Yaesu FT3D, and it's not a bad little radio for somebody that just got their entry-level license. I forget what it's called. You know, it got me started, but it's certainly not something that you're going to use to talk around the world or anything. Yeah, Michael, there are electronic Morse code senders and translators. I don't get it. I mean, There's some aspects of ham radio that I truly don't understand. Like, there's this whole area where they use computers to automatically send requests, and people on the other side of the world using very low power will be running this computer program, and if they receive the request, they send a notification that they receive it, and the computer logs it, and then you get to say, oh, I made a contact with the other side of the world. Well, you didn't, your computer did, and I don't understand why you're excited about that. But I guess, again, if people are in the hobby, if they're continuing to understand how radio works and all that, it's a good thing. A lot of people here still use cursive. That's cool. Mr. Stan has to print because his students in Korea wouldn't understand cursive. So is cursive still being taught in school? It's sounding like maybe the answer is no, which is even sadder. Scam radio operator? Well, Ilva deserves a cookie couch. You left her out in the cold all that time. Yes, Piper said, but I still drive a stick shift. Which actually brings up an interesting topic. By the way, Phil, I think you were off having a pizza, but I did debut the lighter that you kindly sent me, and it works beautifully. So, I'm very happy with this. Ah, Ochoita, good to see you, buddy. Northwest Piper just did a video and talked about younger people not getting their driver's licenses often anymore. Well, that's funny. I remember that being from about the age of 14, that's all I thought about was getting my driver's license. And now you meet these people in their 20s that never even bothered. Crazy. So to go back to the stick shift point, so I drive a 2010, I think it is, Hyundai Elantra Touring, and I love this car. It handles like a compact sedan, but it's basically a station wagon. And for me, fishing, loading up wood in it, things like that, it's wonderful. It really does suit me perfectly. But it's starting to show its age. And lately, so about a year ago, it started squealing when I would start it up. And, I'd rev the engine and the squeal would go away. So it's like a belt squeal. And I've taken it to mechanics and they say, yeah, the belts are squealing, don't worry about it. So it's never been anything significant. But recently it's taken a lot more than one rev of the engine to get it to stop squealing. And sometimes even when I'm driving, it'll start. So I'm thinking it might be more than just a belt slipping. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to have to get it looked at. And I'm afraid, it's getting to the point where they're going to find stuff wrong and it's going to be more and more expensive. And is it really worth continuing to put money into a car that's that old, or should I start to think about something new? And the problem is, I don't have any idea what I would get. I would really like to stick with a manual, no pun intended. I'd like something that had, plenty of cargo space, either something like a hatchback station wagon type sized car, or a small truck. I used to have a Ford Ranger back in the 90s that I loved. My darling wife totaled that, but thankfully she got out relatively unscathed. It was a bad accident she had. I'd love to get another one of those, but they don't. Now they make them in a larger size, and I don't like them. I just don't know what to do. I don't want a hybrid. I don't want an electric car. Anybody got any thoughts? Like if you were going to buy a car tomorrow and you had those kinds of requirements where you wanted something that you could still get in a manual and you could haul stuff around in. I hope the car hasn't been possessed by a ghost pig. Mrs. Yornick, that would not be good. Ah, the Ford Country Squires, yeah. Those were something, Ron. Yeah, that's true, Phil. You got to kind of break it down and think what would the new car payment be, and yeah, 95 Trooper, that's nice. Toyota 4Runner, says Gary. Subaru Outback. I test drove some Subarus before I bought the Hyundai. They're okay. But yeah, that might be one of the options I have to look at, Patrick. Ocho Ida, I do the same thing. I will mix cursive and print, and yeah. If I can read it the next day, that's really good. Sometimes I can't read it 15 minutes later. Toyota Tacoma are military grade, says Sonny. Well, that's definitely something worth considering. Old Chevy, Dodge, or Ford, parts are a dime a dozen. That's some good advice, Phil. I'm not sure if I want a used car or not. I mean, I went through this period where I was thinking, having grown up with nothing but used cars that were unreliable, I thought getting a new car was the best option. But now, looking at the prices and everything, maybe not. Hyundai Santa Fe with the manual trans. My wife has a Santa Fe, and I don't like it, Mr. Stan. I don't know. I have to look at them because she got one of the higher end packages, and it just beeps and whistles at me all the time, and I don't know what it's doing. It's one of these things that stops at, when I'm stopped at a red light, it'll turn the engine off, and then it'll turn it back on, and I think I've been rear-ended. Ryan says a Mazda CX-30 or 50. Take a look at those. Convertible. When you drop the top, they're a big bucket with wheels. Well, that's a thought, Ron. Porsche 911. I don't think so, Couch. BMW X1. I don't know, Patrick. I've never been a fan of things like Porsches and BMWs. Not that there's anything wrong with people that like them, but Phil, that's the thing that I'm really thinking about is, getting something old that I can restore if I can find the time to do it, because I can't work on a new car. I can't work on this car. And yes, the prices are ridiculous, Ochoita. They've truly gotten ridiculous. 22-year-old Ford Explorer, says Timber Drifter. Hasn't cost me much yet, but I expect it's about to. Yeah, that's the problem. Once it gets up there, Timber Drifter, you start thinking it's going to happen any day. Jim says a Chevy Silverado or a Ford F-250. Still kind of big for me, Jim. Although, I might have to go with something like that. Yeah, indeed, Tramper Scott. BMWs are great until they break down. Yeah. Old Volvos. Yeah. I'm not looking for a speed demon, so. Yeah, most of the new cars do it, Patrick. My car doesn't do it. But yeah, the newer ones do it, and it's just weird. 93 Dodge W250 with 84,000 miles on it. Don't like new vehicles. Gotcha, Sonny. 93 Dodge. Well, heck, you guys driving 93s and 95s make me not feel so bad about my 2010. Toyota Corolla hatchback. Very good point about the black box, Phil. Tramper Scott's hoping he can make it to Muletown and back. Yeah. 01 GMC. It says Ochoita. Oh, Sonoma. Knocking on wood. Yeah, hope it continues to work for you there, buddy. Voodoo, you're asking for someone to steer your radio? That hasn't happened to me since I was in college. 2000 Ford Explorer, says Armchair Piper. Those are nice. Those were nice cars. XC90 Volvo, says Patrick Grant. Tramper Scott's Hyundai is an 05. I mean, those cars really were built to last, and I think something like an 05 is probably more reliable than a 2010. But yeah, the last 3 cars I've owned have been Hyundai, and the last 2 of my wife's cars have been Hyundai. The warranty is fantastic, and they've been very reliable. $500 for a piece of plastic to cover the headlights. That is outrageous, Doug. Don't even have a license. Piper on the 45, old pickup full of anti-theft devices, manual trans, and manual windows. Yeah, it's funny. Every time I roll down my window, I think of my father, because he used to tell me, this was back when I was in high school, he used to say, why would you want those electronic windows? They're just something that's going to break. And he's right. Just one more thing to break. Furnace is coming back, guys. Whiskey must be working because I'm having trouble reading without my glasses now. Sailor's been driving a Titan since 2017. 400 horsepower and it flies low. And Patrick Grant is now smoking Low Country Natural Virginian Burley and a 50s Camoy Bent Dublin. Very cool, Patrick. Time to hitch up the draft horses, says Piper said. Could be. Yeah, Beowulf and Miss Kathy, you're right about the sunroofs. They're just trouble. Of course, my wife's got one. That's definitely a consideration, Phil, is what gasoline is required. 7 computers is scary. I think it was Phil that said earlier that new cars have 7 computers. I mean, the new cars probably have more computer power on them than the space shuttles had. Space shuttles had some really low-end computing power. Yeah, Scott, I had an Elantra before this one, and I loved it. It was probably in '05 too, maybe a little earlier than that. But I loved it. Lurker Troy has a bicycle. That's great until you have to travel across the state. Yeah, pop-up headlights are another one, Phil. Something else to break. You know, Piper said some people said that last week, and I'm honored that folks think of Sergeant Savinelli's freezer when they hear my furnace. I don't think I'm at that level, but it's nice to know folks think that. Bronco or Chevy, Dodge comparable. Sounds good, Phil. Oh gosh, Doug, that's terrible. Passenger side window rolls up and down if the local garage door opener goes into operation. Yeah. Doug's wife Risa gets very cold on a winter's morning when that happens, I'm sure. Casio watches have more computing power than the original Apollo spacecraft. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. We don't realize. I mean, the cell phone that I carry around is probably more powerful than the first 10 computers I owned combined. In fact, I know it is. It definitely is. Brian's a fan of the Toyota Corolla. Those TI-85 calculators were pretty spiffy, Andrew. Oh, Timber Drifter, I'm glad you like it. I prefer to think of it as somebody tap dancing on a sheet of styrofoam rather than a toilet flushing, but David Caff, hello. Nice to see you. That's good to know, Phil. Subaru, Toyota, Hyundai, and Daewoo costly rebuilds on just the valve train. I think this pipe might be done, but we've only got a few minutes to go. So I'm probably not going to reload. I'm tired. And I think I've got some stuff planned tomorrow. Haven't yet confirmed with the wife, but one of the things we have to do is my wedding ring has finally been resized, and I'm supposed to pick that up tomorrow. So looking forward to that. It's been a while since I've worn it. Ryan says his Mini Mac M1 has more power than a Cray 80s supercomputer. It's amazing how much computing power has improved. Yornik says that she likes motorcycles, never rode one except in video games. I suggested to my wife the other day that a motorcycle might be an option, and she just said no. And I told her I'd look cool on a motorcycle, and she seemed to not agree. '88 Corolla Doug's wife had, could not wear it out. Yeah. Had cars like that. My wife had a Nissan Sentra when I first met her. And that thing was, I mean, it looked horrible. It was in horrible shape. It had a hole in the floor. I put carpeting in. That's a funny story that I'll tell sometime. But that darn thing would not stop running. And we eventually had to get rid of it because the frame cracked. But the engine was like the day she bought it. $3,000 different computer chips on a new car. Amazing, Bearwolf and Miss Kathy. And you know, that's part of the problem right now. The reason the price has gone up so much and the reason they're so hard to get is that there's been a shortage of computer chips. Because the computer chip factory mysteriously burned down. I don't know if you guys saw the main supplier of potting pots. Should be able to get this out. The pots that you put seedlings in after you sprout them, if you're gardening or if you're a farmer for that matter. The main supplier apparently burned to the ground last week, destroyed like acres of these pots, and now there's a big shortage of them. It's just unusually odd that so many things are burning to the ground these days. Tramper Scott says his 80s Toyota lasted forever. Ryan Dawkins' first Corolla was in '87, rusted out before it died. Yeah. Lord Hogarth says the latest Mac is 1,000,000 times more powerful than the Apple II. Yeah, and it's almost as good as a 10-year-old PC running Linux. Patrick. Good point, Bearwolf and Miss Kathy. Motorcycles, air conditioning works great in the winter, and the heater is fantastic in the summer. Absolutely. Oh gosh, Piper on the 45. I think that's good news there about your biopsy results. And sorry your wife is disappointed, buddy. Oh, Jim, yeah. Women are like that. It's just because they care. Oh wow, Ron, that's got to be frightening to see the moonroof just pop off the car like that. Oh, yeah, Choita. I know what you mean there about the memory cards. I remember my first computer was a Timex Sinclair 1000. Doubt anybody remembers these. They were like one of the early home computers, just after the Radio Shack, were they TRS computers? And this thing was just absolutely terrible. And it had a 1K memory pack that you could plug into the back of it. And that thing cost about $100 for 1K of memory expansion. And the plug was so wonky that if you hit the keys too hard, and they weren't keys. They were like these, you know, the little plasticky pop up and down things. If you hit them too hard, it shook the thing out and you lost everything. David Caff, yeah, I love Linux. I've been using it for years. It's my operating system of choice, and I don't use it at work because we can't. We have to use Windows, but my home computer, what you're seeing me on right now, is being run by Linux. Yeah, Sailor, I think a motorbike would be great if you can accept the limitations. And I'd be happy to accept them, but it ain't gonna happen. I've actually never been on a motorcycle, so I got to be honest about that. I'd love to try it, and I'd love to, but I wouldn't know where to start. You know, it's one of those things where when you're my age, I don't know if it's something you can even do. 72 Ford Maverick was a car that you loved, says Gary Edminster. Easy to repair and would not die. Yeah. So the Ford is making a Maverick pickup now that looks very interesting. It sort of looks like the Ranger, but it's a hybrid. And I don't think I want that. Couch had a Timex Sinclair. Oh, buddy, we gotta reminisce about those someday. Brian had the 1000 with the oh wow. Commodore 64, yeah. I didn't have one of those. I had the Atari 800 XL. Did not have the Commodore 64, and then the next computer I got was after the Atari was an actual PC. Cassette download, yeah, saving everything to cassette tapes, that was always fun. Worked about 40% of the time or so. My pipe is done, and we're actually over time, aren't we? Sorry about that for all you timekeepers. And I'm pretty much on time with my drink, so that's fun. I've been terribly behind lately, so. Like I said, I'm feeling kind of tired tonight, and I think I've got to get out and about early tomorrow, so I'm not gonna hang out too late tonight. Yornik's off to crash, and I think I'm gonna crash myself. Making Jim PM feel old. Well, folks, we'll get together next week and reminisce about old computers. So I'm gonna draw things to a close, guys. I want to thank you all for joining me. It's been a great time. Always enjoy getting together with you guys. If you haven't, please hit the thumbs up button. It really does help get the word out about the channel and just get more folks into the chat on Friday nights, which is always a good thing. You new guys that showed up tonight, I hope you can join us again next week. We're here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And yeah, so with that, I will wish you all a happy Friday, great weekend, and I'll be back on Sunday with a little video of some sort, and we'll see you next Friday. So take care, friends, and we'll talk soon.